While not quite an obstacle course, a teacher's first year is a rite of passage that can be summed up in just a few simple words, none of which is easy.
Exciting.
Challenging. Overwhelming. Time-consuming.
Tiring. Satisfying.
Thought-provoking.
When the bell rings for the first time for a new teacher, all the hopes and dreams of influencing young lives often coexist with a kind of nervous anticipation. Because for all their enthusiasm and promise, new teachers know that the reality is that many of them are not going to make it.
Oh, I'm very scared. I'm scared about going in there the first day and having a lesson plan that will lead to the next day, and hoping that they will be able to follow along with me and that I'll be able to teach them enough that they'll be able to carry, that they'll be able to remember it and carry it on with them in the real world. That's my greatest fear, but one of my strengths is that I know that I can do it. I know that I do care about them, and I have enough confidence in myself that I can do it. Scared, yes, but I know that I can do it.
According to the National Commission for Teaching in America's Future, 1 in 5 new teachers leaves the profession after the first year. And in urban areas, fully 50% flee the classroom within the first 5 years. But for all the distressing statistics, the vast majority of new teachers find their niche. And in almost all cases, those that thrive do so because they've had a helping hand. On this program, we'll look at some first-year teachers in the Prince George's County Public Schools and try to find out what elusive qualities make a new teacher go to the head of the class.
To me, there is a beautiful energy about somebody that comes into teaching because they love young people, because they want to make a difference, because they like their subject matter, and they think that there's some value for young people in learning that subject matter.
Whether it's a teacher who has taught in another system or a brand new teacher fresh out of college who says, I'm ready, I'm going to be this teacher who's going to change the world. I think it is understanding that teaching in the first 2 years takes a great amount of personal time and dedication. There's teachers who say, this is the job I wanted, but it doesn't end at even 4 o'clock, that it continues so that I can really practice and hone my skills.
Although their classroom situations may be similar, each new teacher writes a story that is unique. With differing backgrounds, skills, and personalities, each brings his or her own vision to a human enterprise that, for all the talk of test scores and accountability, is still one that defies description. Mentor, parent surrogate, classroom manager, sympathetic ear, new teachers learn they are expected to be all those things and more.
First-year teachers often feel very overwhelmed and underprepared, no matter how well they thought they were prepared. When they're actually in the situation, it can be pretty daunting because it's not until that time when they're actually responsible for the classroom and everything that happens.
Many of the students go through things in life that they're not even aware of, or they just want people to listen. They just want to have someone that they can confide in and who will listen to them. And I just wasn't expecting so many students to cling on to me.
It wasn't what I expected. It was just like everyone has been telling me, the first year, that's all you do is you do work all day long at night. And it has been like that.
My job is a lot easier when I can ask for family help from the home. So one thing I'm going to do more of is continue that communication between the family and the school here.
Watching new teachers is to witness a grand experiment, a testing period where an educator finds out what works and what doesn't. From putting up bulletin boards to taking field trips to organizing hands-on activities, teachers are asked to create learning environments that can meet the varied needs of all their students.
If I had one major recommendation, is the teacher developing a resource plan where they have defined those resources that can be useful in meeting the diverse needs of their classroom and maximizing the diverse learning styles of children.
But if effective communication with all the schoolhouse stakeholders and the marshaling of resources are critical attributes for a new teacher, so too is the ability to deal with their #1 challenge, classroom control.
So make sure you pay attention. I want to see all of you reading along with whomever is reading aloud. That's all I want to see. If I don't, you will get points deducted for this entire class period.
I didn't know that behavior. Well, I did know that behavior was a problem, but that's a big concern, and you can't have someone teach you what to do in certain situations. Every child is different. So that was one thing that throughout the whole entire year up until now, and even I guess every year after this, that's going to be the big thing, behavior.
In looking back over it, and also in the completion surveys that I've been doing with people, that it's not a surprise. Classroom management and is the biggest issue for people. They just did not realize what it was going to be like. Trying to get 35 kids to go your way when that was not necessarily, your subject isn't necessarily something that they think is fabulous.
To help teachers confront disciplinary issues and the myriad of other problems that arise in the first year, the Prince George's schools have trained a corps of mentor teachers, experienced educators who help to smooth the launch of what is hoped will be a long, successful career.
So currently we've identified 30 schools where a full-time mentor is there to assist you. And that mentor has been trained not only to deal with the classroom instructional issues, but to work with you on issues such as, help, I can't figure out where I'm going to live next, or I don't know how to work through these forms that you have, or what do I do for health insurance?
Certainly it is in the classroom where the mentor teachers provide the greatest support. By helping the novice teachers establish classroom rules quickly, and by guiding them in the creation of a challenging academic setting, the mentors increase the chances that new teachers will stay in the profession. In fact, recent data point to an 80% retention rate when mentoring is available. But even with professional guardian angels and their own increasingly sophisticated skills, new teachers discover what older teachers know all too well. You can never be totally prepared for a job that is filled with tales of the unexpected.
Oh, definitely. The past 3 months, I have had so much more paperwork than I've ever had, and I didn't expect it. And even during student teaching, you didn't have the paperwork. The internships, you never did the paperwork. It was report card time was very interesting because I haven't gone through a report card time yet.
There are a lot of intangibles you really can't prepare someone for. Working with, the interpersonal skills is something that was always stressed. You work with members of the staff and, you're working with real people. You're not just interacting with classmates and a professor.
But despite their inexperience, or maybe because of it, this group of rookie teachers has that most important of assets in a role model, confidence. With an infectious enthusiasm for learning, each one feels, with some justification, that he or she is making the grade.
For my effort, I would definitely get an A.
My letter grade would probably be, I'd say a B.
I would give myself a B. I would give myself a B for above average because I believe that there are things that I still need to work on and change.
D- is passing, but I'd say I'd give myself a B, a good B. I think I'm in a situation that's not quite like other teachers, given that I am pursuing my master's and my certification at the same time as having a first-year load as a teacher, and then my load as a teacher. And again, being first year, you got to get all your materials, get all your things together, work on your bag of tricks that, veterans have gotten together over the years.
I'll give myself a B. I think I've done a good job, and I think I've developed a really strong rapport with the students and the staff and my principal, Mrs. Gaskin. It's always important to leave room for improvement.
That improvement will come if new teachers keep their self-confidence, if they learn from their mistakes, and most importantly, if they embrace the lessons of staff development, the ongoing professional education that turns teachers into lifelong students.
Even if you were a CEO or a stockbroker or anything where things change, and to do well, you have to be really learning and developing and growing and evolving all the time. Teaching's the same. You have to be out there learning not only about your subject matter, but how to teach it. And that is changing all the time. It's not something that stays the same.
The teacher education program doesn't end with the graduation. It's only a beginning. And we hope that with the development of what we're calling professional teaching portfolios, they have a repertoire of information and resources to draw from. But that's only a beginning resource for them. It's a continuous professional development process.
As Prince George's County and the nation prepare for the 220,000 new teachers coming to America's classrooms for the first time this year, the advice from last year's freshman class and the professionals that guided them will help ease the transition for those for whom the bells are about to toll.
I think the key thing, again, is to realize that you're not alone, that you're not expected to know it all, that the first year will be challenging. It can be very overwhelming, and the important thing is that there are other teachers there. There are people within the school and externally who are very eager to help you be the most effective teacher you can be, and not to think you need to know it all or should feel uncomfortable asking for help. And to try, and this goes for all of us, to maintain a sense of balance in your life. The multiple tasks of grading papers and preparing for lessons and for teacher conferences and answering phone calls constantly in the evening and on the weekends can make you feel like this is all your life is all about. Somehow you need to find time to get away from it all and to keep a sense of balance.
Just when you're working with students, you always make sure that you have more than enough work for them to do, because sometimes you think you have plenty of work to do. You find that in the last 10 minutes, you need just one more worksheet or one more idea, concept to go over. So just making sure you're prepared going in. And if you work on the students for an hour and a half, make sure you have enough work for 2 hours.
Worst thing that a new teacher could do is say, well, I'm new, I'm not tenured, and therefore I'm not sure if I have the support if I do it this way. If I ask this question, what will they think? But those that reach out, ask the questions, we know they're asking because they want our support and help, and we're not going to let them fail. So.
In fact, failure is often quite the opposite of what new teachers encounter. There are, as seasoned teachers know, daily rewards that gladden the heart and remind teachers that despite all the negatives, theirs is the greatest job of them all.
After the Maryland Functional Writing Test, when I had students come to me and say, Miss Marshall, I finally passed. It was, I think it was maybe out of 370 and I got a 360. Thank you. You helped me improve my writing. And then also when I would get little notes saying, thank you for being my friend and so forth. So I reflect back on that and say, you know what? This is the place that I need to be.